Ignite is an ongoing series of speedy presentations. Each speaker gets only 5 minutes and 20 slides that auto-advance every 15 seconds.
Our final speaker for this evening, it seems to have flown past quite quickly. Well, it has for me. Our next speaker is quite a complex man. He studies whales, he's a rowing coach, and he rows competitively, but he gets seasick. And he's afraid of water. So I'm absolutely looking forward to hearing from him. Unicorns and climate change. Please welcome Jens Koblitz to the stage.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, everyone. Let me take you to the high Arctic, to Greenland, where unicorns, the unicorns of the sea as they are called, live, and where climate change, warming of the Arctic, is happening, and where all this aspect is amplified multiple times. I'm a scientist, I study bioacoustics, I'm interested in how animals use sound, how they navigate, and was invited to come along to Greenland in this little square, red square up here, to study narwhals, who have really badly been studied in the previous years, and we have very little information on them. And I was invited to come along and study those animals up there in this rapidly changing world up there. When we arrived on the 18th of March 2013, we left Copenhagen in rain and snow. We arrived, it was 10 degrees Celsius in March there. We had ice cream at the arrival hall, and this is an actual picture I took from the thermometer at the arrival hall of Greenland Airport. That's how it was. We then helicoptered on to a little village called Niakonak at the peninsula of Nushwak. Population 59, they're mostly hunters and fishermen living off the halibut that is there. And this is how the village presented itself upon our approach with the helicopter. We daily checked ice conditions, and you can see in front of the laptop here the colleague who was working there multiple years, and she is devastated. She is shocked while looking at these satellite images that are from the previous days, because this is what they looked like. To the left, you see how the ice has been the previous years. The red dot denotes the village. On your right-hand side, you see how the ice cover looked like when we were there. There was open water in front of the village in March, which is one of the coldest time in Iceland. And you could say, well, this was a freak here, it's just a coincidence, it's just weather, it's not climate. But if you look at the predicted climate change, the Arctic will be essentially ice-free in most of our lifetimes here. We will see this. This is what's happening as we speak. These are not alternative facts, these are true facts. And if you think about what will happen, well, shipping will change. The famous Northwest Passage, now the way where people transport goods across the Arctic, will be completely open. And even a transpolar route going across the North Pole in 2060 is thinkable. I came along to study echolocation, and this is a sound that fascinates me, that bats and toothed whales have mastered. They use sound to orient themselves in the environment. They emit high intense clicks from the phonic lips that propagate through a really cool body called the melon, and then is bundled out into the water, and they can listen to the echoes coming back and find their way around. And we wanted to know more about narwhal echolocation. And so we're living in this tiny village. We're flying out in a small helicopter, 3 to 4 people cramped in the small helicopter. And each of those dots denoted a place where we put down the helicopter on the pack ice in the middle of Baffin Bay between Greenland and Canada. And let me just take you on a ride alongside in this small helicopter as we fly along these leads, these little small ridges and edges of open water where you could potentially spot a narwhal, because they, like us humans, breathe air. They need to come to the surface to inhale air. When we spotted them, you put the helicopter down, and narwhals are really skittish animals. They usually disappear right afterwards. Trying to sneak up on a narwhal with a helicopter is not a really smart way to do, but it's the only way to get out there, right? And then we drag our equipment to the edge, and we drop our underwater microphones, called hydrophones, into the water, and we can record the narwhal's echolocation sounds. It's dead quiet up there when we stand out on the ice and the wind dies down. But underwater, you will hear this. Cluck, 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 cluck. Narwhals use echolocation sounds, and this is an underwater picture I took of the array, the multiple hydrophones that we have underwater there. Now, why are we interested in that? Why would we care what narwhals sound like? Well, there's something called acoustic monitoring, where we can eavesdrop on animals and tell when are they where. And this is a potential method that can be used in the high Arctic in an inaccessible environment, and we could use that once we know how narwhals and belugas and other animals sound like to tell when are they where. And we've done that with another project. This is not salsa, and don't ask me to dance, Michelle, please not, but samba, where we did this in a less hostile environment in the Baltic Sea, and we put out 300 of those listening stations into the Baltic Sea, and we found a high density area of this harbor porpoise, an animal that lives in the Baltic Sea that is south of Gotland. And this area is now proposed as a marine protected area and hopefully will pass legislation in the coming years. So this is a technique that can potentially be used in the future in Greenland to limit the effects that anthropogenic activity will have there on top of the climate change. We need to think ahead. Climate change is happening right now. We will not get the ice back as it was before, but we can hopefully reduce the additional impact that our human presence in the high Arctic will have on that. And I'd like to ask you to stay informed and believe the facts, and please don't forget to be awesome. Thank you very much.